Hey y'all, hey. Welcome back to the Lindsay Sisters podcast. This is going to be episode 6, and tonight we will be talking about those double standards that we see typically within the dating realm.
Yes, we're going to talk about double standards with men and women. And what we're going to be referencing is a clip from the Bad Speakers podcast. You can find them on YouTube. So make sure that you go over to their channel, subscribe to their channel. They look like they got quite a few videos that are pretty interesting. So I took a clip from, I want to say the video was called Body Count. So we're just going to listen to this clip really fast, and then we'll give you our commentary from there.
Everybody wants something. Listen, we'll never get nothing pure from both sides.
You're supposed to marry pure. Though.
Yeah, that's facts. But I think what he was trying to get at. Well, if this the closest I can get to pure, I'll take it.
Yeah, I ain't mad at him for that. Like that's his personal preference. Look,
nigga, I think that's every man personal preference. I know man want no woman who been fucking ran through. But guess what? They'll say, oh, y'all double standard, so it's okay for y'all to run through women, but women can't have a body count.
You damn right. It's okay. Look, I'm so
Tell
tired.
him again. You
look,
right.
bro. I'm so tired of this double standard bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it's like women want to be able to do whatever a man do.
Shit.
It's like it's so half and half.
Yeah.
You got some women out here who want the old school traditional shit. Then you got some women out here that want to be able to do whatever a man do. Talking about if you could do it, why I can't do it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why you can't do it, because that's what make you different. If you could do what I do, why the fuck do I want you for?
Right.
Women want to be able to do the most ain't shit that we do.
Yeah.
If you go out here and fuck 100 motherfucking bitches, I can go out here and fuck 100 motherfucking niggas.
Man,
and then if you do that,
we was put on earth to work in all aspects of life.
My point, but if you can do that, why the fuck would I want you? Exactly. Why do y'all want to have a fucking medal of honor to be able to do whatever a nigga could do? I could, guess what? I'll give you a perfect example of the double standard and why this shit don't work to this day. This shit happened back to back. You go look up the fucking, the whatever. Remember Ray Rice, the football player?
Yeah.
Knocked this bitch out, knocked his girl out, because she ain't no bitch.
Yeah.
Knocked his girl out in the elevator that time, right? Picked her up, the nigga lost his whole career. Now, I don't believe he lost his whole career because he hit her. He lost his career because he couldn't play no more. Mm-hmm. But essentially, because of that, he lost his whole career.
Right.
The next fucking, and when he did that, right, he shouldn't have hit her, and I agree, he shouldn't hit her. The next fucking week, elevator, Solange whooped Jay-Z ass whooped his ass in the elevator.
He didn't strike back.
Didn't strike back or nothing. But guess what? It was no outrage. Guess what everybody said online? He must have did something. That nigga had to do something.
God damn.
Ain't no double standing on that.
Yeah.
Ain't no double standing on that.
Yeah.
And
that's
guess
some
what?
bullshit.
No, that's fair. That's what it's supposed to be. She should not be able to. First, let me say this. The mere fact that she hit him, she ain't supposed to go to jail because she a woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't supposed to be able to do what we do. If I hit a woman, if y'all want that, that's on you. Okay. If y'all want it to be completely equal, when you put your hands on me, they should lock your ass up too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or I should be able to call the police without any criticism or people saying he a bitch ass nigga for call the police on his girl and all this other shit. But guess what? It's a double fucking standard. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like, y'all want to be able to do the most ain't shit that niggas do. Mm-hmm. What makes a woman special is the fact that y'all don't do
what you ain't doing.
What we don't. What we do.
What you ain't fucking
y'all want to
doing.
be able to do.
Separate yourself.
Yeah. And understand this. Women, y'all have a womb. Y'all control access to sex. A man is only praised for having sex with men and women because guess what? He has to be allowed to enter you.
Right.
Y'all can go stand in the middle of the street and say, "Hey, who wants to fuck?"
And I guarantee you, one idiot gonna
It's
come out
gonna
there
be
and
a
say,
nigga.
"Hey, I will."
I will. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
he may be too scared. He gonna jump in your inbox right after. Shit, I seen you in the middle of the street.
Right.
Talking about who wanna fuck. Niggas, we can't do that. So guess what?
We do that
Niggas,
shit, they calling the police.
Exactly. So guess what? We praise niggas, not praise, but you know what I mean? We talk about niggas like Nick Cannon, who done had some baddies, or Bow Wow, who done had some baddies. Because that means that man, what is it that he's saying stuff to women to allow him to be with them. Guess what? If we had that power or whatever, we would be with fucking everybody. You know what I'm saying? But y'all have that power. You know what I mean? So understand, it's a big difference. Y'all can't do what we do. Y'all ain't supposed to, because if you go out here and have sex with 100 niggas, we're gonna look at you like, damn, you just let anybody have you?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Okay. So I just real quick, I want to hear a perspective coming from a male on what he said about women wanting to do ain't shit things that men do.
I like to take the rap on that one right there. Basically, you talking about the things like, what is, I mean, again, what he was speaking on, just the sex part, like for as, you know, a man being with, multiple women at a time, and a woman saying, if he can do it, I can do it too. Well, it ain't the thing is not the fact that she couldn't do it, but it's the outcome that it brings to her afterwards, because women are more internal, men are external, and so with something that can bring forth a little more pollution, and that can be spiritually or fleshly, because you have that internal spot, and if you have these multiple different men, that means that you deal with all those different type of fluids in that internal spot, which could bring a whole lot to it. Could change
But you see why they're saying double standard though, because again, it's like the part where he went in and he said, if his body count is high, he don't want a woman that's ran through, right?
right.
But what makes a man think that a woman want a man who's been ran through? I mean,
Well,
I don't
it's
get
different
it.
though.
Like,
It's
if
different.
you're gonna go up there like that, why should a woman want you? That should be the real question. Why would a woman
But
want
mostly to answer that, I mean, let's just be real. Why do women want a man that has woman? You rarely have women that want a single man. Most of the time, women want a man with a woman. And why is it that? Because then it's not like, again, he said in that, if you don't have it's not like this man, them men are forcing themselves on that woman. Each one of these women have a choice to not engage, but they do. And it's a thrill because most women love competition. They love to compete with one another. Can I take this man from him or whatnot? From her. So, that type of stuff. And it's a few other things, but that's like one of the main things I see. Do she still got it or whatnot? But most of the time, when a man has a woman, women flock to him quicker than a man that has no woman.
But men do the same thing with women, do they
Yeah.
not?
I mean,
They do.
I think I agree with what Carlos is saying, and I'm gonna go back on that
Not
internal
really.
spot that you were talking about, sir. The internal spot is almost like your house. You inviting letting anybody inside your house. You know what I mean? And then you feel some type of way, like, dang, y'all just let anybody come up in here, literally and figuratively with this place, in this case, right? You just let anybody come up in here. But the point is too, like, I didn't totally agree with what he was saying. I mean, I've been a guy that's, done some running through and, type stuff like that. And we glorify it. I remember being 16 and me and some of my male cousins were talking about body counts at the time. And I mean, some of these cats was upwards of 100 and we still in high school. And you know what I mean? It was kind of a joke. Like, you ain't hit 100 yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just real. It's just one of those things that I think, far as from a male's perspective, a lot of men compete. It's a competitive thing. It's a male dominant thing. I mean, even if you look at the animal kingdom, how there's a dominant male in a lion tribe. You know what I'm saying? Each tribe or herd has a dominant male. I feel like, human men, the male human, excuse me, is something similar like that, or at least has that mentality. But I don't believe that it's a right way of thinking. I don't believe it's a right way of acting either, because it is a double standard. And I understand where you come from, because someone asked me that same question you asked, like, here, like, well, why would we want a man that's ran through? And then you think about that. I mean, you go get you look at a used car different that has more miles on it than the car that's used that don't have as many miles on it. And then I just start looking at life that way and starting to value myself a lot more as I got older. But, again,
you don't want the Honda Civic, you want the Honda Accord. or you want the Honda Odyssey. Ain't that the man?
Well, it's the mileage that you're looking at, though.
Right. Let me ask you this question right here. And this what I want. When a woman has been with multiple men, does it not take value from her? Because they're just like what you just said. Because with men, we don't have the same effect that women has. Right. Again, Ron said that's your temple. That's a woman's temple. Mm-hmm. Who's she allowing her temple? No matter what it is, if it's polluted, her countenance even change. And so, if you ever dealt with a prostitute, you can see the difference between a male and again, it's not excluding the male prostitute. I will get to that part, but what I'm saying is that when you see meet a prostitute, you can look in her eyes and tell that that there's darkness there, that there's like no feeling, no nothing, like no care, no nothing for herself. Mostly when women are like that, they have lost conscience about themselves, like who they are or what they stand for. And one thing about it, which one can wear and tear? And let's look at parts. You understand? Which one can wear and tear? Because different sizes can stretch that, The man, he's straight one way.
But but let's put it as if it, let's say there wasn't a different side of that, right?
Well,
let's say that a man I'm saying though, but let's say that there was I'm saying hypothetically speaking, would a man be less prone to go out and sleep with 100 women if he would stretch open like
I'm sure, but
I'm just asking the question, if a man could be busted wide open, right?
But we want to deal with facts. And here go the facts.
I know that, but I think the double standard wouldn't exist if it were to be like that. And then you got to think, with some of these women who haven't, quote unquote, ran through, well, guess what they doing? They run into the surgeon and they going and getting it refixed. What is it called? Vagina rejuvenation or something like that.
But my question is,
together.
It won't be the same.
But see, my thing is though, with that, it's not even a question, it's a statement. Women, yes. I think what it is men, we look at women differently once they've had a lot of miles on them. Once you got the city bus mileage, we're kind of like, it's a lot less valuable to us. Again, you know what I mean? It's not because you can't take her serious. And yes, like he said, and the reason is because you have to look at what a man is looking for versus what a woman is looking for. A man is looking for someone, first off, men, the way we look at love and equate love is different. We see respect as love. You see what I'm saying? Respect. So one, do you respect yourself? Because if I see that you don't respect yourself, probably not going to give you the most respect either. They say you teach other people how to love you, right? You teach other people how to treat you.
Okay, but hold on. I got a question then. So if that's the case, why are you helping her to disrespect herself? To make her unvaluable for yourself and another man?
Facts, because men do. They know that she's a hoe and they'll still fuck her anyway.
Okay, yeah, and that's what I was getting to. When the men, we don't suppose, first of all, the Most High designed the woman the way she is. That's it. The man the way he is. So us men do not supposed to whore these women out. We're supposed to make wives. So yes, we are responsible for whoring the woman out because we partake, because the woman, they've been designed to help and follow us. So if we're leading them into that type of lifestyle, then that's what happens. And how that happens when we're young and we break virginities and without the intent to remain there and be her husband.
Right.
So what happened? That's the first step.
Though.
That's the first step that she goes into whoredom after that. Because technically after two, and this just on the biblical side, after two men, the value goes down. And of course we didn't know. I mean, not us, our generation, but ancestors did. So it was a lot less probably the way we do casually do things. But to comment on what Jasmine said, you're right. You know, we partake in whoring the woman out, because again, how would she be the whore if it wasn't men going in her, right?
And that's what I'm trying to
that's
say.
a great statement.
What it sounds like is there needs to be a lot of accountability going on here. Exactly. Because as the woman, you need to be accountable for what you're doing and the situation you're putting yourself in. And then again, as a man, like we talked about before, we've had our own, you know, before we hit the live button conversation saying, you know, the man is the maintainer of the woman. And I'm not talking about hair and nails. If you're my maintainer and you over here whoring me out, then how is it that you can feel the need to sit here and talk about me or talk about women in general when you set the tone as the man? Take accountability for what it is that you're doing and change up what you're doing. So, because again, where there are no good men, there are no good women.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I agree to a certain extent with that, Jazz. But see, this is the point, though. Again, we're in a time and a place where, like the dude said on the original soundbite, where women want to do whatever men do. Okay. And yes, we're talking about accountability. We're talking about what if, shoulda, coulda, wouldas. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. I mean, let's be real. None of us should have been, you know, losing no virginities without being married in the first place. So do we go back to our parents wasn't shit? Do we go back to them not showing us the right way, where our grandmama's not shit and our grandparents not shit? Let's talk about accountability. But what I'm saying is, wait a minute. What I'm saying is, again, that's where the accountability go back. A lot of people don't want to realize mama and daddy wasn't shit, grandma and grandpa wasn't shit. You don't want to admit that. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, yes, everybody is accountable for their part, but that's just like saying, and I agree with you, because in real estate, the worst house on the block can gain value by the best homes on the block. But the worst house on the block cannot cause these other ones to depreciate. This is just in real estate, right? So what I'm saying is that, yeah, if there's good men around, that good man should have been daddy. That good man should have been uncle and grandpa. But see, we go back, and this is what I'm saying, daddy and uncle and grandpa and them, because that was for me and Carlos. I'm not talking about our particular people. I'm saying, using the men as an example here. What were we shown? What were y'all shown? We talked about this before. A lot of y'all, your mom might have not said you don't need a man, but because she ain't complained, she ain't make no fuss about it, and she was the only one making sure that the household was straight, she inadvertently taught you that because there was an ain't shit man that she was with, or that was laying down having babies all over the city, like we talked about Nick Cannon. Yeah, you can maybe financially take care of them, but morally, emotionally, spiritually, what are you doing for these children? And so that's where it comes down to today, where how is it that you look back early 2000s. We had our music videos. That's when, you know, MTV, BET, all that stuff, CMT, and VH1. BET and maybe some of MTV, that's where we were, the black people, okay? We was pouring bottles of champagne on chicks on yachts, and everybody bending over. This is the beginning of the twerking and shaking ass sessions.
No. Back up. Let me give you a history lesson. You must have forgot about Uncle Luke.
I didn't forget.
Uncle Luke started that mess.
I know, but what I'm saying is, it became.
What was that song called? Shake What Your Mama Gave You? Yeah.
Right. What I'm saying is, it became mainstream. It became mainstream.
It became mainstream at the late 90s era. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Just kind of pulled it on in. But who started it, though?
Right.
It's
but
like
what I'm trying to say is the accountability period. Look at TV. You know, it was a point in time where you couldn't even say bitch on TV. You see what I'm saying? It was a point in time where you didn't even see them laying in the same bed because it was out of respect for their real spouses. We have changed. We have desensitized. We've gotten so far away from what was morally correct and moral value. So you got to think there's morally bankrupt people out here that are on almost every woman on Instagram. Not every woman, but almost every woman got it looking back at it, shot in the mirror, got her ass and her face in the picture. You see what I'm saying? So how is that all men are demoralized? It's just something I'm like, well, you come at them correct and they come at you with an attitude. We spoke about that before. You come correct, you come with an attitude, or I'm going to pass you up. And there was this one guy, I think it was Jeremy L. Holloway. He did a video where he was sitting there with his friend. He's talking normal and all that stuff. And then this little, lady called him. And he like, yeah, I got to hit the block with the homies. I got to go make a few drops, And his friend looking at him, and she like, what was that when he got off the phone? He said, these women don't want a good man. When I come correct, I get played, I get pushed to the side, but now I got a record. I got a couple of baby mamas. I sell drugs. They want me. And so a lot of it is just playing into the narrative. Like Carlos said, you got to look at a woman as like a home. Okay. The men, because if we're talking about parts like Carlos reference, sorry, excuse me. The woman is inside. That's the home. That's coming inside the home. Man, that's a backyard. We got the swing out in the back. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's inside of there. You see what I'm saying? So again, it's all about keeping your household in order. We got to have accountability too, because we can keep blaming men, we can keep blaming women, but when are we going to take accountability for our own actions?
Yes. And I agree with
And
you as a whole on that, because again, it's always like, especially like in our community, it's always the men jumping on the women. But again, if men are to be the leaders, then men should lead by example. And what happened is men stop leading by example. Why do you think a woman wants to be able to do what a man can do? Because they watched men do it. And let's go back to our grandparents. Our grandparents ain't innocent either. They may have had 50, 60 years of marriage, but they ain't innocent either, because a lot of our granddaddies had children way across town. Our great grandfathers had children way across town, busting other women wide open. They just kept it on a hush mode. The only difference between now and today they don't give a damn who sees it. Back then they cared about who sees it, but one thing about it, don't be shamed in the dark if you can't be shamed in the damn light. If you know what you're doing is wrong, you don't want nobody to find out about it, then just don't do it. It's plain and simple. But at the same time, you got women now, they just don't give a damn, because again, what did they watch the men do? If you can go out here and do it, but then you want to turn around and judge me, you got to be willing to sweep in front of your own front doorstep first before you come look at what a woman ain't shit. The woman ain't worth it no more. Okay, so then you got to be saying you ain't worth it either. But if you're going to complain about that woman, then show that woman something different, rather than look at her like, oh, well, you're less valuable. Okay, her value might be dropped, but just like you said about a house depreciates. But you can get the house to appreciate by doing what? Putting equity into that home. So even a home that is damaged, you look like crap, is people do what? They flip houses every single day. And when you drive back down that street, you take a second look.
Hey, I flip plenty of women. You know what I'm saying? I've done that. I've taken them from the bottom and put them on the top. You feel many years over. But see, what I'm saying is this, like, again, yes, you can invest in that home and turn that home into something great. But also, it's all about the community that the home is in, because you can invest and paint and do all you want, put new soil, new soil down and all that stuff. But then the houses around it, those homes, that home, the house doesn't, the real figurative home doesn't have a mind. But we're talking about women. So even if you're being treated right, if I approach you and I'm coming at you correct, but then Jazz is like, girl, please, that's lame. That's a simp. So, and then Carlos come at you, and Carlos was like, yeah, bitch, what's up, little mommy? What's up, shawty? You know what I mean? Blah, 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 blah. He busts you down, get you drunk, maybe give you a little weed. You happy with that. But then after the fact that you've been ran through by several Carloses, then Rons come, or vice versa. Whichever one of us is the good or the bad guy. Then all of a sudden, oh, now I need to get my life together. There's nothing wrong. Jazz and I talked about this. There's nothing wrong with changing your standards and realizing I did a lot of stupid shit back in the day. That wasn't worth what I did. You know what I'm saying? I should be better. That's where I think a lot of us need to go. But then it's like, where's the love? It's all about self-love, because at the end of the day, like I said, yeah, I used to do those things. And then I changed my standard, because it's not just about the woman. It don't say nothing about just the woman's body is a temple. Our bodies are temples, men and women. And the whole sexual piece is a spiritual thing. It's supposed to be the highest form of worship, highest form of prayer. So when you think about, you ain't even supposed to let everybody pray for you. Okay, because everybody ain't spiritually clean. So you think about all of, like Carlos said, the prostitute with the darkness in her eyes, because how many spirits have she taken on? So now she's just like got all kind of hell breaking loose and don't know why. And we talk about how people are traumatized and dramatized because of the spirits that they take on. We are sexually reckless. We are unsafe. And I'm saying this as a community. We are unsafe because we are over sexualized, and we can always go back and blame somebody else for it. But we are over sexualized, even in the cartoons now.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, basically, we live in a society that promotes money, power, and sex. Okay, so that's going to be hard to. That's going to be very hard to bring under control. Back to what Jazz was saying, accountability, pretty much. It does take the men, but as what you were saying, Kia, yeah, I mean, I get it. We shouldn't be pointing fingers, but at the same time, what sense does it make to do what we're doing? But then I look at that to see, I say, well, dang, I say, well, here it is. It proves that the woman is actually following the man, because she's actually trying to do everything that he was doing. And that just, even with pimping, we pimped our women, we whored our women, we did all the things that was happening. Of course, it was the ultimate plan, but it's still, individually, we all got to be responsible for our own actions.
And which we do, because
Yeah.
I think we got away from, I think it's easier to point the finger at somebody else. But again, like I said, if you know that you've been reckless sexually with, as a man, with a bunch of different women, and then you walking down the street and you see a woman, everybody say, oh, don't fool her, she a hoe, da da da, and you still willing to smash her. Okay, so she's good enough to sleep with, but she's not good enough to be turned into anything else. Then that you have to go back to yourself. What are you saying about you? Because again, you've slept. There's a lot of men that say they don't want a woman who want to do what they do, but they will still go sleep with them same kind of women who want to do what they want to do. Women want to sleep around with different men every other night, and you got men who will do that every other night too. But then you will say, you will only point out one, but it's like, okay, I got to point out my fault because that's saying something about me. If I can sleep with you, but then I can say you're not worthy of dating, what's the point? And to me, it's double standard. You're doing the same thing you are tearing someone else down for doing. It doesn't make any sense.
And I agree. Hold on, just a second, because to hold your thought right there. Me, myself, I can speak for me. When I was just my wild days, and they used to have it where one female wanted to sleep with the whole house. Okay. Not saying I'm an angel or anything, but I was one of those guys that backed out. And it was just the fact that there was something that didn't attract me, because all men are not the same. I don't want to share my woman with a bunch of men. And that's just me. So, I guess that was just like early on of witnessing that. And I can remember myself, even when a female say, well, hey, I would do all of them, but I got to have him first. And I would say, well, I guess you ain't going to do it because I'm not going to do it, And I used to got upset with me.
Hey, if I'm first in line, but
I mean, I know, but see, that was the difference. That was the difference in me at that time. And then when I think about my daughters today, if one of them may be in that situation, hopefully there may be a guy that was like me that probably set that part where he said, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how a lot of females, they do get a pleasure. Women, I don't know, I have to always try to get men to understand this. You cannot out-freak a woman. Ever. I don't care what you do. Ever. Okay? So a woman can get multiple orgasms, multiple, all of those things, and still want more. Okay? There's a reason for that.
That makes her a nympho, though, because you have men that are nymphos.
I didn't ever say it's a nympho. I was just saying.
Well, I mean, that would make
I was
her
just saying. I mean, some call her that.
all that.
He
Some
never
call her
said
that.
that though.
But
He
I,
didn't
I,
say
I
that
want to complete. I
terminology.
want to complete my point. My point is this right here: is that I'm not saying that makes her a nympho, even though there are nymphos that do that. But what I'm saying is that a man always think that that they can outdo him, and they don't understand that this is something that is of a woman's nature. She can do that, and it's the reason why she was blessed with those type of hormones. For one, to bear children, and to one, to please the man. So at the same time, a lot of that you get taken out of context, what I'm saying, into that part, which leads to, okay, she can have multiple partners, but it doesn't supposed to be that way from the beginning. It don't supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be a respect towards her, and for one, it starts with her, because when she goes out to be like that man, okay, she got to look at the respect that she loses for herself, because there ain't no woman walking around here thinks that she still holds value when women are about commitment, okay, and that she still holds some type of value having those many sex partners. I just don't see how.
I
You
mean, in
know,
this day and age, it's very easy for
Right.
a
And
woman
then
to think that way.
I mean, there's a lot of women that like I said, you can see it on social media today.
Yeah, well, they done changed it to that. I
Right.
get it. I get it now. It's like that because
Yeah.
it's the thing to do. But when you go and you look at the value, and especially when you go on a biblically standpoint or from a spiritual moral, you would look at yourself differently,
Mhm.
because when you have all those
So
different
that's
type
the
of
thing about it. A lot of them
when
aren't
you
even
have all those
aware
different
of
type,
that.
yeah, a lot of them don't
And a
care.
lot of the men aren't aware of it
But
either.
a lot
So
of I wouldn't say
a
a lot
lot
of
of
them
men
don't
aren't
care.
even aware of the scriptures
I wouldn't
about
say that.
the
Well,
woman's body
I
being
wouldn't say that a
pure
lot of
and
them.
these things.
Well, true. I wouldn't say that a lot of them doesn't care. I believe that it comes a point that they block it out. Like, okay, I'm gonna tune it out, but then it's still that inner person, because nobody's there with her when she's by herself and she looks herself in the mirror. That's a whole nother woman compared to the person that she puts on her social media, or etc. Okay, when she deals with that consciously, dang, I did that. And yeah, she put on that strong face in front of everybody, like, yeah, I'm the baddest. But nobody's there when she's alone, because that's something that messes with a woman value. If you're a real woman, it will mess with your value. I'm telling you, in your mind.
But
And I,
wouldn't you say the same for the man, though? A man should value his body too, because again, you are inserting yourself into a woman. The same way a woman can give you an uncurable disease or a curable disease is the same way a man can do the same thing. Let's not act like these people are out here practicing safe sex. They're not. You got, I mean, even the state of Mississippi has been red since before I got here. It's still red right now. I mean, they're even doing TikTok videos pointing out the states that are always in the red for who has the most AIDS, AIDS cases, and then STI cases. I mean, it's to the point you got billboards talking about syphilis. Because the average person, to me, if you're not sexually educated, you shouldn't even be having sex. I don't know how many times I've asked people, what is HPV? They couldn't tell me. I'm like, but you're out here fucking though. And you don't even know what HPV is. You don't even know what
But
syphilis
you
is.
know where all this come from? Where did it come from? Where does it? Why is it like? Why is it on a scale? Because it ain't just in Mississippi. Just because the other
No,
states are
I'm
not.
saying the state that I'm in is
But
in red.
no, I know they on the
In
red.
red.
Baton
Atlanta,
Rouge,
red.
Atlanta, all that, San Francisco. But listen, what I'm saying is all over, every urban area on the globe. Okay,
Not just
but
urban
but
area, because
but
white people get their fuck
oh
on.
yeah, but I know in our areas, yes, it's plague. But let me tell you, I just said it anyway. But why? And that's the question I like to ask everybody. I ain't gonna say anything. Why is it like that?
Because society has been built to they are desensitizing people against sex in general. That is why when you listen to a song, it's derogatory. Well, you listen to rap and some R&B, but mostly rap. Rap is why you get a lot of people that say they don't want to listen to it, because it's very derogatory. Every other word is bitch, hoe, bust it open, Now they got it to where him and his friend busting the girl down. Who wants to listen to that? So when you have a teenage boy listening to it, okay, and let's take Boosie, because again, that is one where I wanted to reference that, right?
Please.
I want
that
to
question.
get on Boosie.
I want.
Because Boosie is one of those people that have this big double standard. I'm sorry, but I don't like this new Boosie. And the reason why, because where's people lining up forcing this man to take accountability? Every time you turn around, again, we want to say men can't do, women do, but again, who is upholding what some of these women are doing? Some of these men like Boosie. And his excuse is when you bring them kids in is to make sure that they're not going to become quote unquote gay. First of all, you can have a little 9-year-old have sex. That is not going to guarantee, because he slept with a girl or a grown ass woman for that matter, that he's not going to grow up and look at men
I
with
know.
other eyes. So,
I
but
know.
my thing is, what I'm gonna say on this is, them same people will look at it like, how many times have we seen Boosie sit up there, put your pussy on live, I give you $1,000, right? He got booted off of there for some of those things. No, everybody found it funny. Everybody found it funny. To me, I found
Men
it
and
sad,
women.
degrading. But again, you got these same men will sleep with these women and turn around and dog them on a damn song.
So my question is,
Carlos, I think
my question is why?
We don't have there's no number one answer to why. There's no number one answer to why.
That would be my question.
Has a different reason to why they do something. So we can't equate it to that one answer. There's no one answer. There really isn't. When you think about it, I can't go and make you have sex, right, Jasmine? Like, I can't. If you choose to have sex with someone, that's your choice. So I can't say, well, I know the reason why she slept with this dude. Or that's like her saying, well, I know the reason why I would do something, or you, Ron, you doing something. We can't, there's no number one answer. Everybody has a different reason for why they do whatever they do. Some people's reasons to you might not be logical. I would say a lot is not logical, but there is no one simple answer as to why it's happening, because being aware, these people out here know and are aware that we are being over sexualized. Everything is hypersexual. We know that. You're aware of that, but it doesn't stop you from getting in the bed with another individual who you do not see as someone who you would consider to be a wife.
Right. So the question, I'm sorry, y'all, because I got to call in, just like I was saying, hard to avoid that messenger. But why? Anybody? I want to know why because you were saying the all this is the vulgarness, everything that's going on. Okay, why are things like this? Why is it this way?
There's no.
No, I'm talking about. I'm not just asking you. I'm asking
answer.
Everybody. It's the answer. Go. I thank you, Kiel. Can Run? Do you have Jazz? Can y'all like expound why?
Jazz.
I mean, like Ikea said, there's multiple different reasons for it. I mean, we could blame a lot of different things, but I feel like when a person gets to a certain place in their life, because all of us are at different points, you'll start to ask that type of question, and you'll start to want different things for yourself, and you become the seeker, and you start looking for knowledge. Until a person gets to that point, nothing's going to change. And we could sit here all day and talk about why it's like that, but we can't go back in the past and change it. We have to go from here. This podcast and what we're talking about hopefully brings some things to light that maybe people didn't think about before, that will sit back and say, you know what, maybe I need to start questioning things, or maybe I need to think about what it is I'm doing. But hopefully that's what they're doing, because that is the point of having this conversation. Because I mean, us just sitting here talking amongst the four of us ain't gonna change much.
Right.
Not between the four of us.
I like what you said, Jasmine. And for me, from a man's perspective, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I was that guy. I took pride in running through. I took pride in, hey, bro, I'll bring her back when I'm done. You know what I mean? That type of mentality and risky behavior. But then it became a point in my life as I matured, as I got older, that I'm like, what you said, IQ.
Right.
I think he was
He
cutting
froze
out.
too.
Somebody probably try to call, just like they did mine.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Everybody getting calls right now. We got
But
the,
I
Wait a
want
minute.
to. Oh, there you go. Great. Okay.
there we
What
go.
just happened?
He
It
just
was like
froze.
everybody's stuff.
Yeah,
Okay,
but-
I'm sorry.
yeah, but
Everybody's
go
screens went out. I don't know if it was me or what. But no, what I was saying was for me, I began to need what I want and want what I need. Those became the same thing. And I think that's where a lot of us, when maturity kicks in, because you think about it like as a child.
It's freezing up again. I think Ron, you need to go out and come back
Yeah,
in.
go out and come back in, Ron. But let me say this right here. That way I can kind of fill in the gap. And I still want his part. Because I wanted to get that first. Well, you know what? Yeah, go ahead. And when he come back, I want to add to it. Yeah. Ron, you probably want to go out and come back in.
Am I sounding weird?
No,
It keeps freezing.
but you were freezing up a little bit, so we were trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go out and come back in.
Yeah, but come back in like with your point, because I'll come after you.
Okay.
Kia, you can go ahead.
I mean, yeah. So I'm just saying, like, as far as the reasoning why, like I said, there's more than one. There's more than one reason. We can't have an answer for why people do what they do. My thing is, it's just all on self. You're responsible for your actions as to why you do whatever. If you are unsuccessful, then you have somebody is echoing somewhere. But yeah, you have to be willing to take accountability for your actions. So we can say, well, everywhere we look, everything is so hypersexual. But again, it's because the media is plaguing us with sexual activity. Does that mean that we have to get in line and join? No. You can choose to be different. You can choose to do something different, and you can say no. And I think the problem with men is that because a woman may be vulnerable enough to allow him to sleep with her, that doesn't mean he has to. So even those fast women that certain men go for in the dark, like I said, but in the light, they want someone who is like a Betty Stepford wife. But when the lights go down, they go after them same type of women that you would see in the club, in the strip club, wherever, right? You still have to take accountability. You can say no, but you choose not to. It's not a thing about being masculine in any type of way or even being feminine in a type of way. I think it's about being responsible with your body, period. And the people that you allow to have you in that type of way, right? Because the same way how we would say, well, I don't hang out with everybody, you shouldn't sleep with everybody either. Because energy is energy. So that's the thing about it. I just don't think there's a definite answer on it. I just think that the double standard stuff is like tired and through and it's played out. It's both sides need to show something different. But of course, we are in a time where we're not doing things the way that our family members did them anymore. And honestly, I'm speaking, as sad as it is, we are not going back there. We are never going back there. They have shifted so far away from there, they are not interested in that lifestyle no more. So we can't complain about it anymore. You can just only be responsible. How do you react? What are you willing to do differently? Knowing what you know. That's how I look at it. I mean, I just, as far as going back or reverting back to even, like I said, the scripture, everybody's life ain't there. Some people get it at a later date. We have to respect that because again, when you got it, that other person that was friends with you may not have got it or they wasn't willing to be ready for that. So you have to let people go down their own pace. But again, you still have to take accountability for whatever happens to you in the long run before you get there.
So I'm gonna let Ron. Thank you, Kia. I want Ron, yeah, you pick up. Go ahead and where you was at.
I was just saying, I began to want what I need and need what I want. And as I was saying, when you're younger, you don't really care about your needs because someone's meeting those needs for most of your life. So, you show up and something is there, something appears, because your parents know those things. So when you're younger, a young adult, you still kind of have that mindset. So as you start to progress and get those life experiences, and as you begin to get your heart broken, you begin to get in trouble, or you begin to go through those different phases, that's when you're like, wait a minute, the light bulb kind of goes off. And like, like he has said it, and we know we've all said it. Carlos, Jazz, y'all said it. Everyone gets it at a different time. Just because, there's not a magic number, 25 and 30. It's not, we know around 25 and 30, some folks start to wake up, but I know 55-year-olds that still ain't woke up. You know what I'm saying? And so, and there's still some 55-year-olds I know that's still running around playing the dangerous game of, hippity hop. You know what I mean? Hop with the thought. So, I say all that to say, for me, it was just a moment of revelation. It was a moment of it, like an epiphany or a light bulb going off that, hey, I don't want to be who I don't particularly look at as a serious candidate. Who's going to take me as a serious candidate? Now, granted, again, like Carl said at the very beginning, I remember when I was married, when I would wear my wedding band, it seemed like it was like a chick magnet. It was ridiculous. And then if I didn't have it on, it was like, oh, hey. But when I had that wedding band on, it was like they flocked. Say the most craziest things, like Carl said, women want a man that has women, or at least somebody that's attractive. Just like, us fellas, when we buy a car, you ride down the street, you want everybody to look at it. You don't want everybody to touch it or be inside of it. And so that's when we get to that. We look at the women in the car. I'm not going to use him as an example. Never mind. I was going to say it was a song made that you remind me of something, but I'm not going to even use that. But what I'm saying is, I ain't want to bring, because we talking about, that's kind of
don't do him.
That's sticky. That's a little sticky. But what I'm saying is, the point is, though, we kind of, again, you want everybody to look and say, that's nice, that's cold, that's bad, that's dope. But you don't let everybody inside of your car. You don't let nobody drive it, for sure. You feel me? And so that's how we, kind of parallel the woman, our women in our cars. We love them kind of the same. Some women are like, he love that car more than he loves me. But we do. We keep it clean. We keep it presentable. You always, the running joke about a man's car, we probably keep our car cleaner and we keep our homes. But the point is, you look at the woman, your woman, and you look at your car, pretty similar. You keep that thing clean on the inside. You keep it clean on the outside. You want it to be presentable. You want it to be looked at, but not touched. You want it to be looked at, but not driven. You want it to be looked at, but everybody don't have access to it. And that's where I feel like, yes, there's a double standard, because then, obviously women don't look at their car the same way as men do, but I'm sure if you look at the house, the man in the house to a woman don't let everybody in her house. Most women don't. Woman keeps her house clean. A woman might want somebody to come over. Girl, this house is nice. This well put together, but you don't want them to touch nothing, right? You're going to let them cook in your house, are you? And so that's what I'm saying. I'm just using those as examples of something, whatever. Think of something that, and this is for the audience, something that you value most. You want it to be, most of the time, it's clean, it's presentable, and you are selfish with it. You are territorial over it. That's how we should be, all of us, for ourselves. Because I should value, I do now, but I'm saying I should have been valuing myself back then, because my car was clean, but my spirit wasn't.
So let me, and Ron, that's a great point. Jazz, yes. Everything everybody said, Akil, all of that, y'all are absolutely right. I totally agree. Just wanted to bring an overall point of view to it. It started somewhere. Let's just be realistic. What was sex created for? Intimacy created for? It was for procreation. The Most High created for procreation. Now, and whether we acknowledge it, I get it. Everybody have different views and stuff like that, but we talking about where is it from then to now? Because it was still going on back in even those days. Because you had certain cities that were being destroyed and everything. But this thing is deeper, and the most important thing that it became what it was. It started being practiced for pleasure, in opposed to just for procreation. And so it became where the fact that sin took over with it. And so now when it's like that. When sin, the wages of sin is death. So we dealing with sex, period. And I ain't gonna get off for where we at, because we dealing with sex, period. And if it's unlawfully done, if we're not making wives or having husbands, it's only used for, okay, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend, let's do this. Or let's be friends with benefits. All of this are avenues that create these problems. Or you get what happens at home when, little girls being molested, little boys being molested, because it ain't just that. But I'm just saying, these things is a plethora that leads to one. So, not to go far into it, but like I say, when it's dealing with sex, like that's what opens up the door for it. And many people don't know, like, even if you speak on fornication or adultery, these things come forth. And if we don't deal with those type of situations, it's already out of hand. They have capitalized off it. Then it goes into these discussions where men and women, men feeling that greater than women, women feeling that greater than men. That, it's really not making any sense. It goes back what Jazz said, like, she, is really, it just depends on the person, what they choose. Are they going to choose the right choices, make the right choices? Because right now it's never going to reach a point where it's never going to reach a point where it just stops. Like, oh, it's just going to be great. It's really far gone now.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I said you have to just make the best decision for yourself. And regardless of what you see, we cannot control those things. Those are out of our control. You cannot stop a person from learning about sex. You may not talk about it in your household, but you cannot stop even a child from learning about outside of the school. You got schools now that are literally teaching elementary kids about sex, same sex relationships, all that stuff. So we know these things are thrown out to mess with our brains and starting out little. So when you get older, yeah, you got a whole bunch of different ideas in your brain. So being aware of that should make you want to do better. It's the same like if you grew up poor. Being poor should be your motivation to get out of poverty, but unfortunately, it's not enough. It's not enough. So you got to think about, okay, well, what is? If not having anything don't make you want to do something, it should be the same thing with sex. If you know you don't want to put yourself at risk, or you don't want somebody to look at you like that, which either or, I'm pretty sure everybody's been called a hoe at some point in their life, knowing damn well that wasn't what they was, but that's just what people choose to do. So even what other people say, you can't allow that to affect what you're doing. Not having sex with a lot of women does not make you any lesser of a man. And the same with a woman. It doesn't make her less of a grown woman because she ain't busting it on for every.
But you know what will help with that, Kia? And I'm just gonna use this quick analogy. If people understand that the Most High considers sex as marriage,
Carlos, what you gotta understand is it's a lot of people who are not spiritual.
No, I know. But listen, this is what I'm saying. I said if. That's a big word. If people would know that, if they knew, if they took heed that if the Most High considers sex as marriage, it would be a lot less. Because the reason why I think so, because now I'm entering into a commitment, and most men don't want commitment because it's mostly the woman, and now it's more women like that now than men. But I'm just saying, if most men knew that, because and women, of course, just both parties. Straight out, it prevents that particular behavior from going on, because you don't teach your children to test the waters or everybody, because you don't want them to be called these type of women that in these videos right now. You don't want your boys, your sons, talking about women like this. You train them into telling them, hey, hey, if I know to pursue her as a wife, I'm gonna be careful. So, because a man just can't pick any woman, to be that. You're right, just spreading here and there. You got to pick a wise. You got to pick a wise one. Be wise in your picking. So if you don't just go out and I just want to have pleasure because she's fine, she got a nice, shape, and I just want to, have fun with her. Then that prevents that part from her going through that process, and from him taking her through that process. You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like I understand everybody's not going to believe. That's not what I'm saying here. Everybody have a choice, but if, you know, if it,
And you, not to cut you off, you might be right, but until we get to that point, people just need to be safe in what they're doing.
Exactly, and be
I can't
educated on sex.
I cannot find the post. I've been looking for it the whole time y'all been talking, and I just cannot find it. Because I would like to be accurate in what it said. But it was a man that was speaking on his experience with a woman, um, a sexual experience, and just to pretty much give like a brief summary synopsis of it. He basically was talking about how he liked this woman. She was pretty and everything. They got to talking. They really liked each other. It seemed like they vibed well. Um, they ended up laying together, and when he got up, he didn't feel right with that sexual encounter. Like his energy just was like off. And as he's sitting there, because he didn't necessarily leave, he was still there. And she got to talking to him about herself after the encounter was over. And basically, what he realized was, and what a lot of people, men and women, don't realize, is that the for the sake of the video, I'm going to say lady parts, is a gateway. And as the woman, we are the gatekeepers. We have to be intentional about what we allow inside of us. And for the sake of the post, he had to be intentional about where he placed himself. He was not. And he found out that that woman was, in so many words, an energy taker. She was demonic. And so was her lady parts. And he didn't feel right because she took from him. And in most cases, in most sexual encounters, when a man, gets excited and he finishes, you are essentially giving your life force to that woman. If you don't like her like that, stop giving her your life, because that's essentially what you're doing. And she took his life. Is basically what he said. He became suicidal, depressed, and all types of other things based off of that one sexual encounter with that woman. And what's crazy about the whole thing is after it was, literally after it was over, this woman sat up out the bed, looked at him, and told him what she just did through her vagina.
I believe it.
Y'all, as and I'm speaking to the men, you have to be intentional where you place yourself. I've been in situations, and it wasn't sexual encounters, but I've been in situations just from having conversations with folk and being in the same room with people I shouldn't have been in the room with, where after I walked out the room for about 3 months, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me until eventually one person popped up in my mind, and I'm like, oh my God, like we just had like a basic, hey, how you doing type conversation.
Right.
And this person basically tried to steal my life, and it really wasn't even a person. It was what they were connected to. I was shown it was what they were connected to. The people they were connected to, that energy was on their back, and it wasn't affecting them. It was affecting everyone else around them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Same with the women. Be intentional. If that man is depressed, if he ain't got nothing going for himself, if he's suicidal, you shouldn't be laying with him, because it will become you.
It will become you. And that's why I say, even with men, we have to be wise. Great point, Jazz. It really complimented a lot.
We're gonna wrap in like 2 minutes, y'all.
Okay, that's cool.
We're at 7, so we need
I was just saying, and I'm gonna be very brief. It's wise. Men have to be wise in the woman they choose to lay with. Just like a woman shouldn't just give herself up to any person, any man. And so there goes the responsibility part, the accountability, because there are, and I know what that spirit is. I think it's called succubus or something. But in that, you have people that have these spirits on them, and when you engage with them, they become a part of you. They take on, and that's why it's so important. That's why it's important who you lay with. And the Most High, it's really this goes back to that point. It shouldn't be all this, hopping around, if you ask me, trying people out. People just need to learn how to, if they can, just be patient, get to know people, do dates without any physical activity and go from there, learn the person. Because eventually, it's only so long that a person can hide who they really are or what their real intentions are. And, you just got to give people that time to show their face.
Well, all right. Well, we got into some things tonight. So thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also down in the comments, just let us know what you think about the whole double standard situation between men and women. Do you feel like really and truly it's accountability on both ends and not just one or the other, regardless of gender? Let us know down in the comments. And until next time, we will see you later. Let me exit out of here.